In this lecture, let's add text to the visual element. As usual, we're working on the main menu template with the UI Builder. Text can be added to a document by searching for an element called Label. Search for it in the Library section. Let's add this element by dragging it over the visual element. The element should be highlighted in blue. After the element gets highlighted, drop it. The label should have been added as a child to this element. You can identify child elements by their indentation. If the element was not added as a child, you could drag the element into the visual elements. Elements can always be rearranged. After adding the text, let's start modifying it. Select it from the hierarchy. Next, in the inspector, we can modify the text under the Label section. There's a setting called Text. This element will display the title of our game. Let's set the text to the following: Bruno's Island Adventure. You can alter the name to the name of your game. After setting the title, it may not appear within the preview. It's because the text is too small. Let's adjust the font settings under the Inline Styles section. Search for a section called Text. I'm going to quickly modify the text settings. Most of the settings are self-explanatory. First, let's set the style to italics. Next, set the font size to 80 pixels. As for the color of the text, let's use the color white. The hex code for white is FFFFFF. Afterward, set the alignment to center. Lastly, set the wrap option to normal. If the text becomes larger than the container, we can push additional text onto a new line by choosing normal. If you prefer text not to wrap, you can change the value to no wrap. This will allow text to appear outside the bounds of the current container. If we look at the preview, the text becomes visible along with the background and border of the container. I think the text is hard to read. The contrast between the text color and the background color is low. Let's add contrast by adding a shadow to the text. In the text section, there's a setting called Outline Width. This setting adds an outline around the text. Let's set the width to 2 pixels. Most of these values were achieved through trial and error. During the design process, you'll most likely have to fiddle with the settings until you get something you like. After adding the outline, let's change the color. The outline won't be applied until the color has been applied. The default color doesn't get added as the outline. I'll set the color to black. After adding the outline, the text should be easier to read. The edges may be awkward. Unfortunately, this is not easy to fix. It depends on the font. For now, let's leave it as is. We've successfully added the title. Before we continue working on the rest of the UI, let's try optimizing our current implementation with style sheets. In the next lecture, let's cover this topic.